Hi, this video is on graphing square root functions. We are going to rely on transformations. So our parent function for square root functions, the square root function will be f of x equals square root of x. The typical table of values that you're going to construct here is going to be 0, 0, 1, 1, square root of 0 is 0, square root of 1 is 1, and we usually use perfect squares. Next number is 2, square root of 4, 4, square root of 4 is 2, square root of 9 is 3. So these are points, 0, 0 is 1, 1, here's 4, 2. We don't have any room here for 9, 3. But this is an increasing function with domain from 0 to infinity, 0 included. So let's take a look how transformations are going to affect that. We're going to try to graph square root of x plus 2. So what do we have here? First of all, when you talk about the domain, it's still square root of x. What's happening here? This graph is going to be shifted 2 units up, correct? So if we use the same value, the same table, every y value has to be moved up by 2. So 0, 0 will go here. 1, 1 is going to go 2 units up. Then we're going to have 4, 2 is going to go 2 units up. We can actually do the point 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 3 and 2 units up is going to be here. So this graph is going to go like that. So what happens here with regards to other things? So the domain is going to stay the same. The domain is going to be from 0 to infinity. As far as the range, this function normally has a range from 0 and up, but in this case we're going to move it 2 units higher. So it's going to be from 2 to infinity. Okay, moving on. Our next function is a square root of x plus 4 plus 1. So there are two things happening here. The graph is going to be shifted 4 units to the left and also 1 unit down. This will impact a couple of things. We're going to get to that. So let's take the points. We're going to take point 0, 0. We're going to move it 4 units to the left and 1 unit down. We're going to take point 1, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left, 1 down. We're going to take point 4, 2. We're going to make it 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left, 1 down. We're going to take point 9. 9, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 down. And now when we graph this, we are going to get the graph like this, which is going to be this graph. So what's going to happen here? The domain now, as you can tell, is going to be moved. The left boundary of the domain is going to be moved 4 units to the left. So it's going to be from -4 to infinity, and the range here is going to go from -1 to infinity because we moved 1 unit down. Okay. So the next one, so here we have 3 things, well actually 4 things here. -1 is going to move the graph 1 unit to the right. Times 2 will stretch it. Let me write this here. So 1 is going to be shift 1 to the right. Second thing is it's going to be stretched by a factor of 2, vertical stretch. Stretch vertically. It's going to be with a factor of 2. So every y value gets doubled. 3, we're going to reflect it about the x-axis. And finally, the fourth transformation is going to move 2 units up. 2 units up. We're going to try to do all that at once as best as we can. So we're going to take point 0, 0. We're going to move it 1 unit to the right, it's here. We're going to stretch it vertically, it's still 0, so you can't really stretch it, it's still there. We're going to flip it over the x-axis, it's still going to stay there, and then we're going to move 2 units up. So that's going to be our point here. Point 1, 1. You're going to shift it 1 unit to the right, which places it here. Then we're going to stretch it vertically by a factor of 2, which puts it here. Then we're going to reflect it about the the x-axis, which is going to flip it over and put it here. And then we're going to move it 2 units up. So this point is going to be here. 4.2. Shift it 1 unit to the right. Puts it at 5.2. Stretch it vertically by a factor of 2. So from 2 is going to become 4. Reflected about the x-axis is going to make it -4. And move it 2 units up. So it's going to be here. 0.93. Move it 1 unit to the left. Stretch it vertically by a factor of 2. 3 times 2 is 6. Reflected about the x-axis is going to be -6. And move it 2 units up right there. So what are we getting now? I'm getting a graph. It's going to go like this. So you can clearly see how a lot of things got impacted here. What is the domain here? The domain is going to be from 1 to infinity. What is the range here? Well, the range here, because you flipped it, is going to go from -infinity to our highest point, which is 2. This graph. Okay, this is where it gets a little tricky because you have 4 minus x under the square root. I'd like to rewrite that as the square root of -x minus 4. So what is tricky about that is because it's -x here, the horizontal shift is actually going to go backwards to compensate for that. That's one way to look at that, but actually what might be easier to understand is the square root of -x plus 4. When we reflect this about the y-axis, because that's what this tells us to do, we're going to have to compensate with this plus 4. Instead of going to the left, this is going to go to the right. So this is going to reflect about the y-axis. Second thing is going to shift 4 units to the right. You have to be very careful because of the negative here. And their third step is going to be 3 units up. It's only because of the negative here. This is why it's going to be like this. I'll show you another way to look at that. So let's try to do it. We have 0, 0. Reflected about the y-axis, it stays put. Shifted 4 units to the right, which puts it here, and then we shifted 3 units up. 1, 1. Reflected about the y-axis, puts it at -1, 1. Shifted 4 units to the right is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And shifted 3 units up, 1, 2, 3. 4, 2. Reflected about the y-axis is -4, 2. Shifted 4 units to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4. And 3 units up, we are here. So you can see this graph is going to behave, it's going to go like that. Okay. So let me address the domain and range, and then as I promised I'll explain another way to look at this transformation here. So the domain here is going to be from -infinity to 4, and the range here is going to go from 3 to infinity.